So greetings everyone. Welcome back to our web development lectures, specifically meant for digital humanities students, but probably meant for everyone. So today we will look at JavaScript comparison and conditional operators. Also we will look at branching. So these are the basics of general programming as well. Actually, let's go quickly scroll back what we have learned so far, right? We have learned about the web in general, HTML basics, how to structure our content, different styling. We learn about CSS, how to style our pages, how to position, how to use flexbox, how to use grid, and also how to use the various effects. And then, of course, last lecture we talked about the basics of JavaScript, how JavaScript makes the page dynamic. Well, to make the page truly dynamic, you need to add some extra abilities, ingredients. All right, and this is what actually makes it real programming language. This means you introduce some way of making a choice, a way of processing truth and false values, how to branch, and this is what we're going to talk about today. All right, so comparison conditional operators in JavaScript, and we'll see there's some not so interesting things. Again, here's our repository, of course, and I'll be adding, I have a Visual Studio Code open, and I will be adding a new page. We'll call this day 10, right? Day 10, HTML. Again, I will use a template, right? Simple template, right? I'll call this day 10, day 10, Control-Z, right? Day 10, branch, Booleans, conditionals, we should call comparison, comparison, logical operators, branching, right? So branching is if, right? So that's our title. And again, since I have already day 9 open, I'll just use the header and footer for those, and I will add, well, I'll have that day 9, of course, here. Let's do that. That's simple, right? We already know how to do this, right? Of course, you can see how we could make this easier, right? Let's see if AI is smart enough. Yes, JavaScript basics. That's our last lecture. Very nice. And we will add a main, which we don't have anything at the moment. We will add it in a moment. And of course, we need to close it, right? Right, we need to close it for now. Yes, okay. Right, we'll add the H1, and we will add the outline for this H comparison operators, right? We'll add it, I guess, in a moment, right? Let's everything in due time, right? Well, yeah, I guess we can add them immediately. Why not? And then we'll proceed from that, and let's add a footer, right? Let's add a footer, right? And which is or here, right? Where's our footer? There we go. Our footer, right? On our. All right. And now let's see if this whole thing is valid WTC. It's still valid. Amazing, right? Let's take a look in the live server. It probably doesn't look anything good. Why? Because we have not applied any CSS. We have our navigation, right? But we don't have anything else good going on. So let's first of all, let's add a link to day 10 here, right? We have here, right? Just a comparison, right? Link to day 2 plan. Right, okay. We also done CSS. So again, reminder about CSS for day 10. Since CSS is not an emphasis today, we'll just add a simple basic one, right? I'll add the link, right? Command, right? And well, let's not jump ahead, right? We could add this, but that's going to happen. We don't have it, right? So you guys by now you know what needs to be done, right? First of all, our page now will look nicer, right? At least slightly. We added some margin, I think some padding, and also we added some fonts choices. Nothing special, nothing great, right? Just the basic CSS, right? Where's our commons? There we go, right? Some basics, some resets, right? And let's now make a page for our scripts, right? Here, again, scripts. Well, again, it doesn't have to be in scripts folder, but it could be other folder, source folder, possibly. But scripts is pretty usual. So JS, of course, knows again how Visual Studio Code recognize these names. So they are pretty common names. Okay, so day 10. For now, I'll just say console log welcome day 10, right? Let's do that. So this part here, we would expect, right? If I go here, and I'll open up Chrome because it's easier to work with Chrome right now, right? We would expect here, if I inspect the console, well, what's going to happen? Well, they don't have had, well, favicon is not added, but we would expect some code. Well, why are not we are not seeing anything? Reminder, that's because we have not included it here, right? Of course, AI was telling it this to add this, so let's do that. Yeah, of course. So reminder, if you add the script at the bottom before the body here, right, you don't need to defer, right? But here, this is a new, well, standards compliant way of adding scripts. So this means defer is it is going to be run after the document has been parsed, right? This means that the script will be aware of all the elements. So this is crucial if you want to actually do something with the elements, maybe build on them, add something, do something, basically. All right. So that will be crucial. So let's see if everything works now. You see now, JavaScript comparison, logical operators, branching. Nice. So this again, this is sort of hello world. Again, of course, we could delete and uncomment it afterwards later on. But now we are in pretty good shape. I think we are good for our first commit for today, right? Day 10 stub comparisons, right? Comparisons, and this should be available in a moment also publicly. Once I sync it to the public repository, and it should be available. Okay, so we have, so day 9 is not needed anymore. Let's proceed. Common is not needed because we're not going to work. Index is not needed because it's all good. So we will need day 10 and we'll need this part here. So basically, these are the major comparison operators. So you probably can imagine if you ever done any programming, or maybe you have not, but these basically are used, well, to compare some values, right? So let's do a little paragraph. Let's let AI write for us. So paragraph logical comparison operators are used to compare two values, right? The Boolean value, true or false. And so this is true for many programming language, most of them, some sort of truthy or falsy value actually, but in this case, true or false, right? Classical way of representing, of course, is 1 or 0. True is actually hiding a 1 somewhere, right? False is hiding a 0, right? But so let's see some examples. Let's look at some examples. H3, now we'll do H3 examples. Examples, exactly. All right, not Control Z. All right. Yeah, let's do that. Yes, so these are true, right? So false. So notice something here, right? And this is a tricky part here. Actually, I'll add it since it's a very important part here, right? These are the comparisons, right? And I could actually add them in log, console log, of course, all right? So if you compare something, right, this part here. So this is probably the worst or maybe the best thing to some people, but most people consider this the worst thing that JavaScript has done. This first part here, right? So you have to pay attention. Sometimes JavaScript likes to cast values. Yeah, try to avoid using. Yes, so this is a recommendation. So basically, avoid, I should say, not try, but avoid, actually, right? This has been knowledge for a long time, right? So these two, this one, right, and these two are actually to be avoided, actually, right? Because they lead to some unpredictable bugs. So let me make these colors so bad. I'll make it class bad, right? Let's make it bad, right? Bad, right? Avoid, right? And let's do this one also, right? Let's do this one also. Class avoid, right? Because I'm just going to color this and to warn you, right? So let's go to our right, and well, I guess I'll just do CSS here, maybe somewhere, right? Again, yeah, since I'm lazy, I guess I'll do it here, right? Style, right? Yes, I'm lazy. I don't have to. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, AI. That's what I want to do. Yeah, okay. Avoid. All right, so I'm lazy to add the CSS file for now. And so we will see these as a red. Okay, yeah, so these two avoid, right? Yeah, right. So this one is especially true. So this is again, this is done for um, convenience, right? And so you should be using these basically. Why? Because they actually compare exact comparison. So notice this part here especially, right? So it's comparing two things. It's comparing a string, right, a character, and actually with a number. And usually in most language, this would not be a false comparison, but not in actual JavaScript. There is a really ugly looking page which shows different ways of comparing, different ways, strange comparisons possible using these double comparisons. So that's one thing you should remember. When you're comparing, try to compare, for exact comparisons, use triple comparison. For inequality, use the double inequality. So inequality with an extra equality here, basically, right? But the rest, I think, makes sense, right? So you have to remember these return these values, right? So again, you will see later on in today's recording how they can be used, okay? So again, of course, how it actually looks in the language, right? So let's example comparison. Okay, yeah, so all right, so we can see all of this, right? So but let's okay, so let me add something here, right? So I'll use backsticks, yeah, exactly. This I want to do, yep. So here you don't see this is a bad problem, right? So and we have everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Let's do also yep. All right. So in this case, you don't see this, right? So and here you won't see the problem because A and B, right? Basically, it looks same, but again, avoid, right? So avoid this one, avoid, right? And avoid, right? And this one is avoid, and rest we don't avoid. Control Z, right? Right, and also use, yeah, right, use, right. Yes, use here. Yes, exactly. Avoid, right. So the full internet is full of code which using it, and most of the time it's okay. But again, eventually you will run into, you will curse the day you use this one. It's because it leads to really hard to use bugs. This is fine, by the way, yeah. So let's save it. Yeah. Let's see how it looks like. Right. So avoid, right? These to work, use these, right? Basically, right? So I should probably use these should be used first. Let's move these up top, right? Yeah. And again, all right. And so I will use this. Right. C. Let's C equals yeah 10 exactly. Right. So this is what I'm trying to point. So this avoid, right? True. It's true indeed. Thank you, AI. False. Yeah. So these are kind of bugs you don't want to want to avoid basically, right? Because yes, this is made for convenience, and it's been cursing for 30 years. It's been leading programmers and web developers down a really dark path, right? So again, so this use these, right? Avoid this one. A equals C is true, right? Avoid it, So this one here, these to avoid. Rest are fine. Okay, right. So far so good, right? So we are getting these truth values, right? And we get right. So let's add some resources actually, right? Let's add some resources on this where we can close the navigation, right? Header is not needed. We'll need style maybe later on. And let's add some examples. Let's add some extra resources, right? Uh, resources on comparison. Okay, so yeah, let's see. Developer and W3 schools, not the greatest, but okay, we'll live with it. For now, let's see if these are actually good resources, right? This should be okay. Yeah. Expressions, addition, comparison. Let's see the comparison. Yeah, we do. Relational, right? There you go. So we actually want this one here. This is the link we want, actually, right? Relation operators. Do we have it here? In comparison, I think they did not. This is not the right link, so we'll fix it. Yeah, notice this again. This is we can. So this should be working. Yeah, that's better. And well, let's see if this one is working. I don't know. Where's my page? This one here. Let's save it. Let's see if our page actually works good. Yeah, again, right. So you can see these issues here, right? Again, they don't mention. You see, the problem is WP schools don't mention this is bad, basically, right? So we should probably use also. Let's use also what you call li. I will use a yeah JavaScript info. I want a JavaScript info. Thank you. Not JavaScript info. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Thank you, AI. And that should be a nice link, hopefully. Yeah, yeah, this is a good site actually. Right. So, all right. So we are getting our booleans. The next thing is to combine them. Right. So next thing, right? Logical operator. Exactly. Right. So we have only a few of them. Right. So that's good news to you guys. Right. And again, if you've taken any logic, these will make sense, right? In mathematical logic, right? Aristotelian logic, well, actually Boolean logic, actually to be true, right? He built on top of Aristotelian logic, right? So, any philosophy majors also would be at home here, right? So, right, and we'll see some examples, right? So, you will, right? So basically, we can combine multiple operators, right? So let's some resources, right? And we add some resources, hopefully good enough, right? And I'm curious now, we'll get to branching in a moment. So see if it validates, or did I forget? Okay, I am rushing things. So what have I forgotten? Let's take a look. All right, right. You see the problem? Do you see the problem here? Right. So this is an issue, right? To avoid this, can we escape this whole thing? Do you see the problem here? Why is this not a valid HTML? This is an age-old issue because these are symbols to be used by the actual HTML. All right. So let's see if we can. Can I do this? I think I can do this. Right? Can I do this? Yeah, I think so. I think this is legal. Right, and I want to, this is okay? No, no, I guess not. No, wait. Oh, yeah. So unescaped. Yes. So let's try this. Yeah. So let's do that. LT. So less than. Right. Unfortunately, this leads to or less than. Yes. And this is of course what you think. This should be greater than. Right. Yep. 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 GT. Yep. Let's do that. Yep. All right. That's much better. It's not valid yet. We probably keep moving. Yeah. So here, same problem. So same problem, unfortunately. Right. We need to change these to greater than. Right. Less than. No, greater than. Yep. 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 And yep. All right. That looks good. Now we can validate, I hope. File is valid finally. Yes. So you see that we also came on a very common issue with encoding these special characters. Because why? Because they're part of HTML. So of course you need to somehow escape them or encode them separate ways. So if you see these funny looking things on somebody's web page, you will know what's going on. They actually are just basically encoded special regular characters. And sometimes, of course, like some unsavory people, like some scammers, will use this to hide some sites by using some of these escape characters also. But of course, as a web developers, you do need this from time to time. Okay, so now let's see our page. Where's our page? And we are going to commit it in a moment. No, day 9. Where's my day 10? Oh, there we go. Right. Yep. So we only have 3 operators: conjunction, or, right, on negation, basically, right? So Let's see if we have good links. Right, Booleans. Yeah. Relational here, and yeah, binary logical operator. This is what we want. This is what we want. This would be the correct link. So let's fix that. Right. So we are going to add this here. Right here. You see we have the fight against hallucinations. Right. Let's see what other links. Are those okay? These might be okay. Nope. They lied. No, it's not it. So we'll skip that. And I think this one might be okay. Yeah, that's not it. So yeah. So let's get rid of this one here. I'm just gonna, it's not needed. Okay. Now, all right. So we had some resources. We have some examples. Let's add some code examples. So let's look at some code. Yeah. Right. So, right. So x less than y and y lower than 5. So let's think about this. Is 10? Is 10 more than 5? Yes. Right? Is x less than y? Yes. So this will be a true combination, right? Of course, what I write here could be different from what actually is happening, right? You got to pay attention to this, right? But of course, this is actually what makes the actual code is running here. This is just text displayed, right? So less than or, right, is going to be true, right? So let me give a link to the actual tables of the Boolean tables, right? To see here also truth tables, also tables, links to truth tables. Yeah, hopefully this. Oh yeah, so hopefully this shows. I'll see if this actually does show. You can see the results of this. Hopefully, where are my operators? No, that's a good site, but this doesn't mean it's not available probably for you. I think we have yeah, it's not what we want. Yeah, these are hallucination. Oh no, comparison. Yeah, we had this. They don't show it here actually, right? So let's show you the Wikipedia. This is basically all you really need to know, all the math you really need in program. You don't need all of this basically, right? And these are all the big tables. You don't need all of this. I mean, this is of course nice to know, but you just need the Boolean algebra, this part here, basically. You need to know basically this part. This is all you really need. This all is what's needed. Let's add it, since I'm lazy, expect. Right, I think this is, oh no, this is actual real table, unfortunately, so I can't just copy it. I was going to give you a hot link to this, but actually this is a table. So can we have actual link to this? Right, so this is actually all you really need to know, right? So if both, so 0 and 1, 0, 0, so these are basically are only true. So false, false, or true or false, right? So this is and, this is or, and this is negation, basically, right? So x true and true, right? If these are both false, it's going to be false, right? If these are if one is true or one is false, right? Both of them and is going to be false. Only when both are true is conjunction actually true, right? However, disjunction or what we know in programming is or, right? Disjunction, right? That is actually basically 0, false, right? If both are false, it's false, right? Then if one of them is true, then it's going to be always true, right? So, and this is basically all the math a programmer needs to know. Really, that's the good news, right? So again, but it's of course also goes with logical thinking, right? So it goes pretty well, right? So we don't need this truth table, but let me add this link to Boolean algebra. So I will compare this. And then we get to the last part, right? We are almost done. Yeah, this one here, and this one is of course fake. This is not this hallucination. Khan Academy actually might be good. Actually, that's actually might be a good link, by cartography. Maybe this is good. Let's see. Why not? Let me save this. Yeah. Is this actually a good video or just fake? No, accept all cookies. Yeah, so give frequency. This is just all good, of course, but the page is not found. So I know they have it something somewhere, but not it's not pulling up. Okay, so we'll leave this for later on. I'll just copy it. I'll comment this out maybe later on to do. Okay, but right. So let's explore the code again. So we can combine using I'll do console log using right. We can combine multiple truths or false values. When I say falsy or truthy, actually, what I mean by this is that not everything has to be exactly true or false. Some things maybe actually have this, like empty string. Is that actually true or false? The generally are false, right? So maybe some things are actually more. You can see here, right? You can see true, true, false. Okay, but now we actually get to actually the main part using logical operators. Logical operators. When we get to the final part of this video, which is going to be getting or using branching actually, right? So logical operators, resources, right? And let's, before we close this, so H2, yeah, H2 branching, right? That's the main thing, Control Z again, right? Look how AI is, right? So we can actually do things basically if let's do code here, right? Maybe I do right. So we can if do one thing, else we do something else. It's like I said, it's something like in the poem by Robert Frost. Robert Frost poem. Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. I'm sure you've read this poem. All right, this one here. All right, something like this poem, right? Two roads, right? You cannot travel both, basically, right? Just like that. So, right. So, right. So let me add a link to this. I think this is the right link. Nice. Right. I think this is it the correct link? No, looks like hallucination again. Hallucination. Right, but okay, but we are close. Again, I guess really GitHub is skipping on the model quality right now. Okay. Let's take a look at our page. All right. Yeah. Okay. Now, so what do we have as code? Yeah, if else, right? So you do one or else. So let's see if these are actually good statements. Yes, they are. This is good, and this is also is going to be good, I think, right? Yes, very good. So you can basically check. Notice actually they are checking here for with this again. Despite this being good site, they're using the double comparison. Well, because again, it's lazy, right? But you should use 3 again, right? So even this good site is actually using two. But again, so let's see if we can add some examples of branching. So let's show some branching examples. Right. Right. Else. Okay. So simple example. Right. So no matter what it is, so 5 is less than 10. Right. Then right. So we can also print the values basically here. Right. So let's take a look what our code shows. Where's my code? Here we go. Right. So yeah, 8 is less than 5. Right. We can also have it could also have L if, yeah, something like this. Yeah, so that's much better. So let's say this, so A equals 15, right? Sorry, on B equals 15, right? So which one is going to explore, right? Equality, right? So this is the order, right? Order is important. Order is important, right? So that's that. Yeah. So let's take a look. Yes. All right. So basically, these only one of these branches will execute. Only again, only one of the blocks will execute, right? So that's you have to remember. So basically, so how can we do? How can we use this? What's the point of this actually, right? So basically, well, actually, this is how computers actually get smart by many multiple branching instructions, right? Of course, modern scripts you actually automatically provide them. Lots of branching can be done automatically these days. But in general, right, this is how we basically make computer appear to think, right? To do something. So in terms of web development, something simple might be check whether the row is even or odd. You can colors them in different colors, for example, right? That's something simple like that. So again, in your project, you'll have some tasks, which of course will always relate to this, right? So what I would like to do is um, um, let's see here, right? Let me add this to the pre-code, more code, and then we can finish today. So before we're branching, example, one more example, example code. Let's see if this provides the code for me. Yep, this is what I wanted. Yeah, something like this, right? But I'll do this. Yeah. So let's see, we have the code now. We do. And that's they are showing here, right? So this will print, right? Which one? X is less than Y, right? Because of course you see what happens. This is what happens. It's a good thing we didn't go yet. So why? Because I put A and B, but this is not A and B, right? This is A, right? So logical again. What we write, right? Computer doesn't, well, AI is going to correct this for us, right? So now it's correct, but actually I also would like to print it, right? So what I'll do is console log, right? Right, and I'll use this, right? A is, right? So notice these backticks, right? AI is, all right, so, yeah, all right. So, right, in this case, of course, we could have added these, this after the end. So this is basically could have been here, of course, right? Note, we could have, in this case, we could, yeah, right. But we don't need nested ifs, right? Right. We could have done it at the end. We could have printed it at the end outside. Yeah. Right. So notice this. So this part here, right? So these are all identical, right? So technically, in if that would be an improvement, we could move it right below on just one of them, right? We don't need because it's the same road, right? We have to do all same tasks. So fix me. I'll add fix me. Uh, Yeah, right. So this will be something to fix, right? As far as if I was doing a code review, this would be not a good sign, right? But again, as far as learning, I think hopefully you can see this, right? So is less, right? You could, of course, maybe get some extra text here, right? So let's see again what's happening, right? Is equal. A is 15, B is 15, right? So let me add this code right here, right? Right. So here, let's fix this here, right? So hopefully again by showing you things you can fix, right? Right. Yeah. So hopefully you can see why it would be here, right? So to do, move the yeah. So that's something to do. I'm not going to make the AI do it because again, but just to show you what, right? Yeah. So this part here, right, could be done here, right? And then you can just get rid of these two lines. Just something to show you. Okay. But hopefully you got the idea how we can do branching. So we can do something depending on some truth values, right? So what did we learn today? We learned about comparison operators. You generate true or false. Then we can use logic, Boolean logic, to combine these true or false values in various ways, right? And then we can use these true or false values to selectively execute some code, right, depending on certain conditions, right? So now, again, we look at if else, you'll see there's also a switch case, there's other ways of branching, but this is the main, sort of like the mainstay, the key concept, right? The branching, we take only one of these paths, just one of them. All right, so that is it today. For it today, I'll commit this. All right, hopefully this helps. And again, reminder, do the quiz. Do the quiz for today, right? And I'll see you in the next lecture when we'll talk about loops and a switch operator, which continues on the branching idea. Thank you very much.